Hello Bean Team! It is currently Sunday night. I start my 5-week psychiatry rotation tomorrow. So if you are interested in watching me try not to get depressed while listening to tragic patient stories for the next 5 weeks, keep on watching. Good morning, just got to the hospital. Today is day 1 of psychiatry. These are my essentials for rounding. I always have a blank piece of paper with a mini collection of pens, my hospital ID, this egg alarm, which knock on wood I have not yet had to use, and then this miniature book. This book is filled with templates that include all the important questions that I need to ask on history. The best thing about this book is it's really small and can fit in all of my scrub pockets. Hello! We just finished our first day on psychiatry. Overall, it was very relaxed. I wasn't expected to do too much. We just saw patients together, and then I helped write patient notes for the rounding. I am on call tonight, so I'm just gonna hang out, do a bit of homework, and then if the emergency room has a psychiatry consult, I will get called, and I will go and see the patient. Okay, so first consult came in. I'm just gonna change into scrubs so that I can head to the emergency room, and I'm gonna go start reading up on this patient. I did my outfit change and I'm now wearing the medical student scrubs of shame. So I usually spend about an hour to an hour and a half chatting with the patient, getting their full history. So this is sort of the dictation setup. We have a computer so we can pull up patient charts and look at things. I usually have my notes here, and then we've got a phone. Anyways, it is 10 p.m. so I'm going to GTFO and go to bed because I have to be back here tomorrow morning. Good morning. So today I am in the EPI clinic, which stands for Early Psychosis Intervention. Can we just appreciate that it's like sunny for once? Also lately I have been wearing 2 masks. I've got this pure silk mask on in an attempt to like reduce, I don't know if it's maskne or what. So I was in the EPI clinic, which stands for Early Psychosis Intervention. Basically, it's like a clinic dedicated to psychotic disorders and helping patients manage them. But yeah, psychosis is rough. I think probably the most famous example of like a psychotic disorder would be schizophrenia. A term that is used a lot in psychiatry is positive and negative symptoms, and in schizophrenia you can have both. Positive symptoms are not like, woohoo, positive, but they're more like things that your brain thinks are there, but actually aren't supposed to be there. So an example would be like hallucinations or delusions. Okay, so I just wrapped up for the day. I'm on call this evening, so I'm gonna go to the library and study for a bit, and then meet up with the on-call psychiatrist at 5 p.m. Hello, so I just spent the morning on the psych ward and I'm back home because we've got academic half day this afternoon. But today, for the very first time, I went into one of the psychiatric isolation rooms, and these rooms are so bizarre. So we went into one of those rooms today, and how it starts is you have to scan into this big, like heavy metal door to pass the first door, and then there's like a station where you can take off things like your lanyards so that patients can't choke you. You can leave your clipboards, pens, and everything there. And then you have to scan your card again to pass through another big heavy metal door, and then there's these patient rooms. You have to scan in again to open the door to the patient's room. And the door is weird. Again, like it just gives me, I've never like actually been to prison, but what prison looks like in the movies is like a similar feeling to these rooms. So it's like a big metal door, and then there's just like this tiny little window that you can look through to observe the patient. When you walk in, the room actually isn't square or rectangular. It's like this weird, almost like triangular shape, so that when you're the interviewer or the psychiatrist at the door, which is where you always position yourself so you can escape, you can kind of see like all of the walls of the room. So then in the actual room, you look up and there's cameras in each corner. There's a big window, but it's not a glass window. It looks like a thick plastic, maybe plexiglass. There's a toilet in the room so the patient doesn't have to leave, but the toilet isn't a normal toilet. It's like one of those full metal, like stainless steel toilets, and it's just like one piece. So you can't like break things off or make weapons from it. And then for the bed, there's just a mattress on the floor in the corner. There's no bed frame or anything. And then other than that, the room is just barren. So that was totally bizarre to be in that setting. Most of the time we put patients in there if they're violent, if they're unstable, if they're psychotic. In our case, our patient was having like unstable bipolar disorder and they were in a severe manic episode. So mania is basically like very, very elevated mood to the point that your sense of reality isn't really intact. So typically patients aren't in there for too long, but the idea is that they're there, they're safe, and then we stabilize them on medications before moving them to the normal ward where there's other patients. So I'm in a clinic today directly across from the hospital. Okay, so I just finished a morning in the clinic. Today's clinic was one that specializes in anxiety and depression. So yeah, basically every patient we saw was a follow-up. Good evening. Yeah, I'm on week 2 of adolescent psychiatry. I feel like I'm just starting to really absorb some of the stories that I've heard this week, and it's so sad. I feel like oftentimes these young people are paying for the decisions that other people made. I think it's important in medicine to always like realize your own feelings and like not let them bottle up and really just be in tune with yourself. So tonight I'm going to take the night off. I'm not going to study and I'm not going to feel guilty for not studying. I'm just going to do some self-care. Hey. Next up for the night is a movie in bed. Morning, it's quite sunny today. Arriving at the hospital to round on the patients. And then later today I'm actually going to the prison. Okay, so morning rounds are done. The psychiatrist that I work with, he is a very busy man. He is all over the place. Anyways, we're heading to the prison now, so hi ho, it's off to jail we go. Kind of excited, kind of nervous, no idea what to expect. Well, there she is. Alrighty, we're done in prison. That was an experience. One of the inmates today threatened to sue me, so that was interesting. Another inmate complimented me on my boots. But other than that, they were all pretty friendly. But definitely a very unique population to see, especially within the psychiatric context. 4:14 p.m. and we are just getting back to the hospital. So we have 2 new patients to see, as well as a discharge to do and some patients to follow up on. So even though it's 4 p.m., the day is not over yet. Hello, so I'm on call for psychiatry this weekend. Basically, the psychiatrists leave a list of sort of their acute patients. We round on them. Also, if there's any consults, we see them. And then every day we have to round on the PICU patients. We're actually required by law to see the PICU patients every day because they're being like detained against their will under the Mental Health Act, which is kind of scary. But yeah, we have to like reassess them, and it's their right to be assessed because if they're stable, they can leave PICU. Anyways, I've been here all day Saturday, all day Sunday, learning lots of psychiatry, but I am very ready to go home. Goodbye, psych ward. I shall be seeing you again in 13 hours. Well, another day of not seeing the sun has come and gone. Good morning. So I just got to hospital. I'm going to head up to the psych ward and start rounding on all of the patients. Okay, I've got my rounding essentials. Let's go see some patients. The psychiatrist said something to me today which was, I thought, quite profound. We were seeing a patient with quite debilitating anxiety, and he said anxiety is the thief of potential. So that is some food for thought. Hey guys, so I'm back from clinic, and I feel like since this is a psychiatry vlog, this would be a very appropriate time to talk about mental health. Woohoo! Some patterns that I have noticed in interviewing my patients is that crap really hit the fan when COVID started in terms of people's mental health. So that has been very eye-opening. As for me and my own mental health, I feel like I'm hitting a point in third year where I feel burnt out. Third year is basically a time in med school where you feel chronically inadequate. You learned a lot of stuff in your lectures in first and second year, and for myself, I feel like I've forgotten a lot of it, or making that next step to learn how to use my clinical judgment and apply what I've learned has been challenging, and I just feel like I'm constantly letting myself down, letting my preceptors down, letting everybody down, letting my patients down, and having that feeling every day does not feel great. Other than that, I'm also exhausted. Some days I get home and I go straight to bed. Like, I don't even eat. I just collapse in bed and sleep, and then I wake up and I'm just riddled with guilt, and I feel pathetic, and I feel like I should have been studying and I should have been pushing myself harder, but instead I wasted my time sleeping. That's kind of how things are going. Anyways, that's where I'm at. I don't say these things to throw myself a pity party. I don't want to concern anybody. Like, I'm good. I'm still functioning fine as a medical student. That's just kind of my internal struggles. I hope that if somebody else is doing school online or is in med school and can relate to anything I said, hopefully that's helpful. Yeah. Hopefully that wasn't too depressing. So this is the clinic I'm in today. We've got a beautiful big window and a nice view of the hospital. I'm a bit early to clinic, so I'm just gonna read over my psychiatry notes until the doctor gets here. Also, I'm still wearing 2 masks. Update, my skin feels more smooth. It's like not as bumpy, but definitely still getting some acne. Good evening, it is 6:30 p.m. I'm just finishing up after another eventful day, both at the psych ward and in clinic. For the first time, I'm gonna get to discharge a patient that I admitted. But yeah, I saw him when he first came in, and it has been so rewarding to see how much improvement he's had in terms of his mood. He's so much happier. I chatted to his wife today over the phone, and she said, you know, he sounds like himself again. It hasn't been like this for a long time. So I'm feeling super happy about that, and it's just so reassuring to know that we're actually making a difference in patients' lives. It is an absolutely beautiful day out, as you can see. Just arriving to hospital. I'm honestly gonna really miss these 8 a.m. starts. Part of me kind of regrets not taking advantage and studying or doing more stuff every morning. But part of me just really needed to sleep in for the past 5 weeks. So I just finished my morning rounds on psychiatry. So I'm now heading over to clinic. Clinic days, you guys, they drain a part of my soul that does not have a lot of volume to begin with. I just get so exhausted. I feel like I always have a headache. I feel like the problem with psychiatry is it's very emotionally charged, and I feel like I'm very empathetic. So if a patient is sad and they're crying, I feel really sad. If a patient's irritated, I feel irritated. And it's just a roller coaster of emotions going through that every day. It's just it's exhausting in a weird way. Anyways, I'm heading to hospital now, and then hopefully I will be heading home in not too long. Well, at least the sun is shining. So we just finished seeing some of our patients for the afternoon rounds, and now I'm done. Goodbye, psychiatry.
I'm free!
Thank you so much for joining me for this vlog. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.